It is the morning of day 87. Had a nice 0 yesterday, and we are headed back up to Mount Washington with a plan to hike 8-something miles to the Osgood campsite. It's clear and a little bit of wind. This is the Mount Washington Auto Road, and Trail Angel Tom here has offered to drive us up in his truck here. All we gotta do is pay the $36 per person to go. The temperature right now on top of Mount Washington is apparently 38 degrees with like 20 to 30 mile an hour winds. So that makes a wind chill of 28. You can just barely see the Mount Washington over there, but it's gonna be chilly. Good thing I got my long winter gear with me. Yeah, this looks a lot different than it did, what was it, 4 days ago?
I'm just excited, hikers.
Back on the summit of Mount Washington. The winds are supposed to be around 10 or 30 today, something like that. But this has got its own weather. What I recall is the fastest, strongest winds ever were recorded here at like 231 miles an hour one year. So hopefully we won't experience that. Gonna go into the visitor center and use the bathroom one more time before we're out on the exposed rocks. We are back on the summit. How many attempts is this for you now? Third attempt to get down, and this is the third time is the charm. It is 41 degrees with a 15 mile an hour wind, I guess, maybe 11. Bye. Well, the view is incredible today. You can see over 100 miles. It's about 9:30, and we have 8.7 miles to go, almost 9 miles. So hopefully we'll get there before too late. There is the cog railway, which is another way to get up here. But we're walking down. So we are going to go close to the top of that peak, and that peak, and that peak, and then I think somewhere on the other side of that peak, in about 5.8 miles, is a hut. The Madison Springs hut, where we'll step in and maybe get a free bowl of soup with something I've already, and fill up the water bottles, and then keep hiking another 3.5 miles to get to the campsite. Honestly, really beautiful up here. I just can't stop and appreciate it because I've got to keep an eye on where my feet are going every step, and this is the smooth part of the trail right here. If I can get my camera out. This is some engineering. They call them cog trains, or it's a cog railway because they have cogs that run on these links to control the ascent and descent rather than just relying on friction between the wheels on the tracks. This area is called the Great Gulf Wilderness, and the trail makes a loop and starts heading south here pretty soon. I wonder though if this valley and the connected ones constitute the Great Gulf. To the left of me is Mount Clay, and I only know that because I accidentally took a blue blaze about halfway to the top of it before I got a sinking feeling that I was not on the AT anymore. Confirmed that with the far out GPS. Hiked back to get on the AT. Yeah, my folks are way in front of me now. I'm going to give you a good view of what the trail is like here. It's just slow going. Doesn't even look like a mountain. It's just a pile of rocks. 4,000 feet up in the air, so maybe not quite 4. Oh my God. Walking on a pile of rocks to get to a pile of rocks. Next to a pile of rocks. That is apparently the peak of Mount Adams. I guess we're on Mount Adams, but just the side of it. And look at all these cairns. Got to really make sure you get on the right trail. Fortunately, there's a sign that says Madison Hut .9, AT this way. We're gonna take a break in the Madison Hut, I think. Get some water to drink. Maybe some soup if they got it, and I see a hut. That's 0.3 miles away. Oh my God, I can almost reach it. Goodbye, hut that didn't have room for me to sleep tonight.
Any night.
Or any night, that's true. And now we are climbing Mount Madison. Actually going to the top of Mount Madison. A very tippy top. I'm impressed that we can do what these young men are doing when we have full packs. This is what the top of Mount Madison looks like. We was over there on Mount Washington a few hours ago. It's a bit windy up here. Coming down Madison, we got on the wrong trail. We're walking down there. Fortunately, Shadow noticed that there were these cairns, 2 sets of them. One where we were following and one off to the right. And pulled out the GPS and confirmed that we were on the wrong trail, but we were back on track. Gotta go on the bridge. Well, it's 5:30 and it took us about an hour and a half to go that 1 mile from the hut to here. And we have 2 miles left to go to get to the campsite. So hopefully there'll still be some light coming out of the sun by the time we get there. 6:30 when we're finally below the tree line, but I don't expect this relatively smooth path to continue much longer. I think we've got another hour and a half of hiking to go, which puts us arrival around 8 maybe. And so, yeah, it's going to be hopefully there's a place to put my tent up, or I'll be cowboy camping somewhere. Yeah, it's 7 o'clock and there's 0.8 miles to go of this rock scrambling. So it's going to be probably close to 8 o'clock, maybe a little later before we get there. Hopefully not much later. That's good. Tent site. It is 7:40. The sun has gone down behind the big mountains behind us. And there's a short spur trail to the tent site. So hopefully there's room on the platforms. Well, it's 8:30. Still a little twilight left. Having some stovetop stuffing with tuna fish. Shadow sharing the platform with somebody else. I've got my tent on the ground there, barely enough flat spot. Mosey's got his hammock up, and I think he said he's having mashed potatoes. Apparently, if you shake up your instant coffee with cold water, you get a cup of caffeinated foam. What a great way to start day 88. The bridge out ahead is closed, so we're going to have to ford the Peabody River. They're trying to route people on the AT detour, but we're not having any of that. We're going to ford that river. Yesterday was tough. God, it was only like 9-ish miles, a little bit less, but it was just almost all up above the tree line, and that meant just rock scrambles over mountains. And Mount Madison was tough. I think even though it wasn't as tall as Mount Washington, it was harder to climb up and down it than just Mount Washington was. It was brutal out there. Good thing we had good weather, because if we'd had bad weather, I don't know if I'd have made it. But I was so tired when we got into the tent site last night after I ate. I just went to bed, and I knew I was supposed to be stretching my legs out, but I didn't, and so didn't sleep particularly well. My Achilles tendon was screaming, and as it is right now. So I'm taking little tiny baby steps. In the time I've recorded this video, my hiking family has left me in the dust. A weird looking rock. I reckon this is the Peabody River, and this is the piece of engineering that failed its inspection and is currently closed to traffic. So the bridge has not failed. I don't see any broken cables or anything, but it failed the inspection, so now we have to find an alternative to get across that. You see anything? I think I'm just going to take my socks off and put my shoes back on and wander through the water. The steps are all too big and slippery to try to stay out of the water. Okie dokie, I made it. I see Mosey's upstream. I don't know where Shadow went. So you did what you wanted to do. Of course, the trail is rocky. So this is the auto road that goes up to the top of Mount Washington, and we're having to cross it. So we did the 5 miles in about 3.5 hours. That's something for me. This is the Joe Dodge Lodge, Pinkham Lodge Visitor Center area again. But this is where the Cadillac is going to come to get us to take us back to the barn hostel. So we have successfully completed the presidentials, and I do not intend to hike them again. Signing out.